Chosen one. You didn't find this video by accident. Your spirit was pulled here. And no, God hasn't forgotten you. He's been quiet because he's been working. There were nights you whispered, "God, where are you?" There were mornings you woke up feeling invisible, like heaven had gone silent, like your prayers were echoing into nothingness. But silence isn't absence. It's sacred space. It's where God speaks the loudest to your soul without saying a word. Because when he's about to do something big, he gets quiet. Not to abandon you, but to pull you away from the noise of this world, to isolate you, so he can reveal you. Chosen one, you weren't being punished. You were being prepared. God wasn't ignoring you. He was protecting you from distractions, from detours, from people who weren't meant to go where he's taking you. You cried in rooms no one entered. You fought battles no one saw, but heaven kept count. Every tear, every prayer, every time you almost gave up, but didn't. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46, verse 10. He wasn't late. He was on time. And now he's ready to remind you who you really are. Chosen one. You weren't forgotten. You were hidden for a holy reason. There's something no one tells you about being called. Before God reveals you to the world, he hides you. He covers you. He separates you. He removes your name from rooms you once begged to enter. Not because you're unworthy, but because you're being preserved. Let's go deeper. Have you ever wondered why you never fit in? Why your phone stopped ringing? Why invitations dried up? Why it seemed like everyone moved on without you? It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It was protection. God saw the room before you did. He heard conversations you weren't meant to hear. He blocked connections you didn't know were dangerous. He closed doors you cried over, because behind those doors were things that could have killed your calling. Chosen one, you are not like them, and your path will never look like theirs. You've been set apart, not for praise, not for performance, but for purpose. There are people who were revealed too early. They stepped into the spotlight without oil. They built platforms with no spiritual foundation, and when the pressure came, they collapsed. But not you, because God loved you enough to hold you back. You felt like you were missing your moment, but heaven was saying, not yet. I'm still preparing the roots beneath the surface. Think about David, anointed king, but went back to the field, hidden in the shadows, fighting lions and bears in silence. Why? Because public elevation without private preparation is spiritual suicide. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91, verse 1. You were hidden in his shadow, covered under his wing. You were not being overlooked. You were being anointed in secret. So don't be ashamed of your hiding season. Don't curse the quiet. That cave you're in, it's not exile. It's holy ground. And when God says now, the world won't just see a person, they'll see a vessel that was refined in fire and carrying glory. Chosen one. You weren't hiding, you were becoming. Chosen one. You've spent your life being misunderstood, and it's because the world didn't build you. God did. From a young age, people tried to define you. Too emotional, too intense, too distant, too different. You were either too much or not enough. So you tried to adjust, to shrink, to dim your light just enough to make others comfortable. But the more you tried to be normal, the more your soul whispered, this isn't who you are. They couldn't understand you because you were not sent to be understood. You were sent to awaken. And no, it wasn't arrogance. It wasn't rebellion. It was your spirit refusing to be labeled by the world when it was already named by heaven. God didn't call you by what they called you. He never looked at you and saw too much. He saw potential. He saw fire. He saw a vessel ready to carry something eternal. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1 verse 5. So while others chase status, you craved meaning. While others copied trends, you searched for truth. While others built platforms, you were being built in secret. And you wondered, why don't I think like them? Why do I feel everything so deeply? Why can't I just go along like everyone else? Because you're not like everyone else. You were chosen. chosen to see what others ignore, to feel what others numb, to carry a voice that doesn't just speak, but shifts the atmosphere. And yes, there were moments you almost let their words define you. Moments you tried to silence what was screaming inside you. But the truth is, they didn't create you, so they never had the authority to define you. The world gave you names, but heaven gave you identity. And today, right now, God sent this message to remind you. You are who I say you are. Not broken, not lost, but called, chosen, and already enough. Chosen one. You've lost things you never thought you'd lose. People you never thought would leave. Dreams you never thought would die. But listen to me carefully. You are not what you've lost. You've walked through seasons that left you empty, stripped, alone. There were prayers you cried that only your pillow heard. There were days you smiled, just enough to survive. There were nights when your heart shattered in silence, and you wondered if you'd ever feel whole again. And you've asked, God, if I'm the chosen one, why does it feel like you keep taking things away from me? But the truth is, He wasn't taking. He was refining. He was purifying you for purpose. There are some callings that require a kind of pain only the chosen ones can carry. God saw the idols that were forming quietly in your heart. He saw the things you were attaching your identity to: relationships, titles, achievements, control. So, in His mercy, He began to remove, not to punish you, not to destroy you, but to disconnect you from what would have limited your destiny. Because if your identity was tied to what you build, you would have never survived when it crumbled. So He allowed it to break. He allowed the cracks. He allowed the loss, so that what's eternal could rise from underneath. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Job 1 verse 21. Let's get real. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it shook you. Yes, you felt betrayed. You lost people you prayed for. Opportunities you thought were yours. Versions of yourself you fought to hold on to. But listen closely. Those weren't losses. They were divine subtractions. God only removes what can't stay for where you're going. Chosen one. You weren't being stripped down. You were being set free. You see, what you lost made room for what's sacred. What left your life made space for what's aligned. You didn't lose peace. You lost distractions. You didn't lose love. You lost attachment. You didn't lose direction. You lost control. And what felt like abandonment was heaven making room for your anointing. There is purpose in the pruning. Even the vine must be cut for fruit to grow. And what God prunes, He plans to use. You're not less because you have scars. You're more. Because scars mean you survived something that was meant to destroy you. And don't let the world fool you. Success isn't always about what you've gained. Sometimes the most powerful version of you is found after you've lost everything, except your faith. So today, God sent this message not to remind you of what you lost, but to remind you of what's still alive inside of you. Your light, your voice, your oil, your calling. None of that was lost. It was buried beneath the noise. And this is your resurrection season. You may have walked through hell, but you're still here. You may have lost things, but you haven't lost yourself. And the version of you that's rising now, that's the real one. The one who was chosen, the one who was hidden, the one who was refined in fire and still glows with heaven's fingerprint. Chosen one, you are not what you've lost. You are what God preserved. You may have been forgotten by people, but you have never been forgotten by heaven. You might feel invisible, overlooked, set aside. Maybe life moved on without you. Friends faded. Opportunities disappeared. Even your own reflection started to look like a stranger. And in the silence, you started to ask, God, do you still see me? Do you still know my name? Let me answer that for you. Yes. Yes, He does. And not only does He see you, He never stops speaking your name. Heaven remembers every silent cry, every time you almost gave up, but didn't. Your name has been echoing in heaven all along. There are rooms on earth that didn't recognize you, people who couldn't value you. But your value was never tied to earthly validation, because your identity was spoken in the presence of angels. Before you were born, before you were broken, before you were betrayed, heaven knew your name, and heaven hasn't forgotten it. I have summoned you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43 verse 1. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Isaiah 49 verse 16. He doesn't just speak your name, he carries it, he protects it, he watches over it like a promise. And right now, he's speaking it again. He's whispering, I haven't changed my mind about you. You're still mine. You're still chosen. And your name is still holy to me. So don't let their silence define your worth. Let his voice do that. Let his calling redefine what you thought was over. Chosen one, this is not your ending. This is your reintroduction. They thought you were done. They counted you out. Even you began to wonder if maybe it was over. But it's not, because God never writes stories that end in silence. He writes resurrections. He specializes in rebuilding what the world thought was ruined. He restores the voices that were buried by shame. And right now, he's about to reintroduce you, not as who you were, but as who he always knew you were becoming. You're not going back to who you were. You're becoming what you were always meant to be. This next chapter will not be built on performance. It will be built on presence, on power, on purpose, on purity. You won't have to force it. You won't have to fake it. Because when it's your time, God doesn't ask for permission. He announces it. So rise, walk in your light, speak with your voice, move with heaven's rhythm, because your story isn't over. It's just getting started. And the world? It's about to meet the real you. Chosen one, this is your reintroduction, not as the wounded, but as the warrior, not as the forgotten, but as the favored, not as the silenced, but as the sent one, the revealed, the risen, the remembered. And when they ask, where have you been? You'll smile and say, I've been hidden, but now I'm home. If your heart was stirred by this message, it's because heaven was speaking directly to you. Don't rush away. Sit with what you've heard. Let it rest in your soul. And when you're ready, come back. There's more where this came from. We're just getting started.